Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today we're discussing how this Activision whole scandal has just continued to get worse because we're seeing them threaten their own employees. That's right, they have sexually harassed them, they have stolen, reportedly, allegedly stolen breast milk. That's another thing we're going to talk about today. They have fired countless people from Raven Software who worked on Warzone, one of the most profitable games out there. They have fired 800 people in the past when they were at their most profitable quarter. They have known about sexual assault and just hid it. They have done pretty much everything under the sun you can think of to make their employees want to unionize. Even if they hadn't done all those other things, honestly, if they had just done the crunch time, which we know they have done, that would have been enough. And now, what they're doing is, now, I said threatening, but legally, they aren't threatening them. They're really trying to pull out every union-busting trick in the book, and that's what we're seeing in this new email that just leaked. Thank you, Blizz Jess, because they don't want their employees to unionize. But do they want them to not unionize for their own sake? Are they really looking after their employees like they have done so for all of these years? Of course not. They haven't looked after their employees at all. Are you kidding me? That was obviously sarcasm because it's absolutely pathetic and terrible how this company has treated their own employees, even though these employees have made them millions of dollars. And in the case of Bobby Kotick, billions of dollars with a B. These executives have the gall to say that there will be consequences if they sign with the union. Now the thing is the email starts with them basically just congratulating themselves and all these different things that they've done that are good things, but guess what? They just started doing those things because of this ongoing lawsuit. This scandal has forced them to do things that they should have been doing already and forced them to basically be decent human beings. And the fact that they're trying to virtue signal by talking about how they've spent $250 million on, oh, we're doing anti-gender discrimination things and we're trying to be an equal opportunity workplace. You're supposed to have been doing that already. That's what every single workplace has done, and guess what? It didn't cost them $250 million. They only recently introduced a zero tolerance harassment policy. Are you serious? Now? You should have always had that sort of thing. Are you kidding me? If you had that in the first place, all of this would not be happening right now. Which, by the way, it is shocking to see this sort of thing come out when the CEO has known about all these things and he still has not been fired. So what, does this zero tolerance thing just not apply to him? Of course it doesn't, because he's rich and he's the CEO. He can do what he wants. Let's take a look at how I view as a threat is in their email. Let's take a look at exactly what they said to their own employees in this email. As you may have seen yesterday, there was communication supported by the Communications Workers of America. By the way, that was a terrible sentence. I didn't write that sentence. That was a terribly written sentence. It's communications twice. Very confusing. We're going to call them the CWA, by the way. That asked employees to sign and submit union authorization cards. I want to be clear about this. The leadership of Activision Blizzard supports your right under the National Labor Relations Act to make your own decision about whether or not to join a union. So they have to put this bit in there legally. Legally, we support your right. We support, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. We support your decision. But as you make this decision for your future, we ask only that you take time to consider the consequences of your signature on the binding legal document presented to you by the CWA. You can do whatever you want, but consider the consequences. Once you sign that document, you will have signed over to CWA the exclusive right to represent you for the purposes of collective bargaining concerning all terms and conditions of employment. That means that your ability to negotiate all your own working conditions will be turned over to CWA, just as the document says. Now, if this was a fair and just world, that could sound like a bad thing. And if you don't think about it for more than a second, it sounds like a bad thing. All of my rights and all of my negotiation goes to this other organization. I shouldn't sign this piece of paper. But no, In fact, if you think with your brain, that's a good thing. Because guess how much power you as a singular employee has on your employment? Nada. Especially at this company. We've already learned that. A lot of these people have come forward with stories about harassment. And they were harassed by the people that they told. And they had no power in this situation. A lot of people were unfairly paid. And they had no power in the situation. The person was just like, well, deal with it. Well, now, if you have an entire organization to back you, now suddenly your voice means something. Because you've got people helping you. It's not just you anymore. That's what that means. And I know they're trying to spin this in this horrible direction, but countless people I've heard from in my comment section and others and online and everywhere have said nothing but good things about the union they're in. They're like, yeah, we have to pay this amount, but they have raised our income so many more times that we've had to pay to this union. And of course you have to pay union dues. It's an organization. How do you think they're paying to keep the lights on, get more members, and actually have power? It is absurd when we see all these anti-union rhetorics out there and people actually believe it, especially when they're so blatantly obvious. Like, I don't remember which airline it was. It's on the screen right now. But they were basically saying, hey, you know what you should do instead of paying your union and actually getting more rights and more pay at this job? You should spend those union dues on video games, you fucking moron. Because that's all you enjoy. You're all a bunch of children. All you do is play video games. And it's like, are you really? You're talking down to us that much that you're just going to say, you could buy an Xbox with that instead, like we're fucking children. Achieving our workplace culture aspirations will best occur through active, transparent dialogue between leaders and employees that we can act upon quickly. That is the better path than simply signing an electronic form offered to you by CWA or awaiting the outcome of a legally mandated and regulated bargaining process sometime in the future. No, it's not. And they said speed. Oh, the leadership's going to have some speed in fixing the situation. Let's go over, let's take a field trip to Ubisoft and see how that's going. Hell, let's just look again at the leadership of Activision. How speedy has it been to fire Bobby Kotick? Has it been pretty speedy? I don't think it has been. I don't think it has been at all. I think most of the people that were involved in this situation and all of these terrible things from this lawsuit have kind of just gotten away with it. And they'll continue to do so unless the workers have some sort of power behind them and a unified voice. It's blatantly obvious what they're trying to do, and it really is a truly sad and pathetic way that they're going about this. I mean, everything they've said, you can easily, like, it's not even difficult to go, well, that's just not true. You're straight up lying. So why would I believe you when you have anything to say that's bad about a union? Like, if anything, this is going to be more motivating for people to sign that document. I guarantee it. If the unionization fails, I'm going to be shocked. Seriously shocked. Unless people are being bullied and coerced behind the scenes that we can't see. Before we end this video, I mentioned something in the beginning. Breast milk was being stolen from expectant mothers at Blizzard. That's right. Mothers who had kids were coming in. They would, breastfeed at work in their privacy of wherever they did it. And the thing is that, so right away, allegedly, all of this is allegedly, okay? This is all bracketed allegedly. Don't sue me. Allegedly, they had to sit on the floor. They had to use unsanitary tables to do this. They had unsafe power outlets. Like, it's getting worse and worse. They were given fridges that sometimes had locks, sometimes didn't, and even the ones with locks, other people just had access to them. And oftentimes they had to store their breast milk in the fridge, the same fridge that other employees were storing their beer in. Which, by the way, people storing their own beer at work is a little weird. Okay. But the fact that it was getting stolen is just so strange. We just had to add something on the pile of what's going on at Activision. Mothers were getting their breast milk stolen at Activision Blizzard. Allegedly. The absurdity has gone off the charts. This situation, I don't know how it could get worse. We've had horrible harassment. We've had suicides, we've had crunch time, unfair payment, constant harassment about everything on the spectrum. It's just, I'm never going to buy an Activision Blizzard product again until they actually clean up their act. And it's going to be a long time before they can even do that. I honestly don't know how we can get to the point where we can forgive them. Because that's the thing about a lot of these companies is, when is it time to forgive? Because that's the thing. You do need to get to that point. You need to get to the point where they've made amends and you move on. Because if you don't move on and you just hold a grudge the whole time, what was the point of them making amends? They could just sit there and be hated and make all the money in the world. You need them to learn a lesson so other companies and other people, if that's what we're talking about, learn the lesson down the road. And that's what a lot of people have a hard time doing. However, Activision Blizzard is going to have a hard time getting to that step because they've done everything wrong, every single thing wrong. And this entire process, instead of trying to fix things, they've tried to cover it up and they've threatened their employees. They've made it almost impossible for themselves to come back from this, especially since their CEO is still in power. And there are so many executives in this company that are bottom-feeding scum. I don't think I could ever morally or ethically support this company again. So like the video if you guys liked it. Comment down below what you feel about this whole situation. Subscribe for more content. And as always, have a fantastic day.